Well, here's a video that I thought was about time. Probably the number one question I ask is, what do you do with all those opals? What do you do with the opals? And that's a good question. The truth is, I typically pack them around in my pocket for a couple of days, the ones that I like. Anybody that knows me at work or casually knows that I'm likely to pull a couple of opals out of my pocket and show people who couldn't care less about opals. But a lot of people do. And so I'll carry something like that in my pocket with a couple, usually the whatever I cut the night before, I will carry in my pocket. And then after a while, they get kind of thrown in to the pile with the rest of them. But they actually do serve a purpose, and that's kind of the purpose of this video. My cutting opals right now is every year. Well, not every year. My favorite Christmases have been the ones that I made everything I gave away. One year I made cedar chests and jewelry boxes and shelves out of a red cedar tree that was in my parents' yard that we cut down. And I spent months making all that stuff, and it was my favorite Christmas by far. A couple years later, I taught myself how to make knives, and I made everything I gave away that year. It was knives that I made. So I did one year I did stuff for the women, next year I did stuff for the men. And then the last few years, I bought the stuff I gave away, and I hated it. I hate that part of Christmas, the commercialism, the avarice, the greed that it feels like. And I hate the fact that you buy something, give it to somebody, and it goes in the garbage in 3 months. They didn't need it anyway, whatever. I mean, obviously you can give thoughtful gifts, but I've always enjoyed Christmases where I got to make something. So all the opals I'm cutting this year are from my family members. I have a large family, 11 brothers and sisters. They mostly have, spouses and kids and that stuff. So I have a lot of jewelry to make before Christmas this year. I don't have time to custom make all the settings. So what most of these are going to do, now I have a few examples here. Some of the other ones I actually gave 2 really good ones away yesterday. You saw one of them in a video earlier. To 2 birthdays that happened in this last week. But what I do is I set them. Here's 3 examples just of pendant settings that I've done. I have pendants. I have earrings of different sizes that I order. I have different people in mind. Obviously Navy needs a set of earrings, so I have smaller sets for her. Where do you get this stuff, if you're wondering? It's super simple, and it's not terribly expensive. Well, I pulled up the wrong type of thing here after saying that. But if you'll go to eBay, if you'll go to Temu, if you'll go to Etsy, if you'll go to any place that sells stuff and type in semi-mount, you could do semi-mount pendant, semi-mount ring, semi-mount earrings, whatever. After you've cut your stone, if you measure it, and if you did a calibrated cut, maybe that's a 13 by 8, then you just search semi-mount. You can get rid of the cushion cut. I was looking for something specifically for a ring. And search. And you can filter the searches. Now, you can spend thousands, but if you sort from price lowest first, you're going to find that there's a lot of silver, sterling silver, with cubic zirconium, diamonds, and that stuff. So the anything you want, you can get a lot of nice looking rings for relatively inexpensive. You can go up as high as you want. You can get white gold. All of this stuff comes from China primarily, and you usually have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get it. But it's a good way to put your jewelry, your opals, to use and put it in something that somebody might use and enjoy. And you actually, when people say, well, what do you do with all those opals? You can say, oh, well, I set them in pendants. I got the wrong light in here for this, but there you go. There's that one. This one right here is actually, I'm going to send it to the giveaway winner to the giveaway when we were promoting trying to get to Os Opals over 1,000 subscribers. The person on my other channel that won that giveaway, I'm going to send him this one if it's okay with him, if he likes it. I think it's beautiful. If he likes it and thinks his wife will wear it, that's his. That'll be the first giveaway right there. The next giveaway will be something similar like that. There's a fine line between what I can give up, the ones that I like too much I can't give up, and what I'm not willing to give somebody something that I don't think is really cool too. So there's a fine line between what I can give up and what I can give away, because I want to give away nice stuff, and some of them sometimes they're too nice. I'm like, oh, I got to hold on to that, so I don't. But anyway, search semi mount, whatever your budget is. $30 to make a gift for somebody. You can set it if your budget is $200. Silver is going to be cheaper. If you start getting into gold, you're looking at 150 to thousands of dollars. You can get them preset with other precious stones like emeralds and stuff like that, small ones around it, and then you just set the centerpiece. Anything you want, earrings, pendants, rings, that stuff it's easy. It doesn't take a whole lot of tools. I have a pair of jeweler's pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers, and then a couple of tools for pushing in the bezels. And I found that these bigger ones, this one right here, I actually trimmed off the prongs on it because I thought they were too long. I kind of wish on these bigger ones you need the stones to be slightly thicker than you would think, because they're kind of designed for that. On these smaller ones, I think they're perfect. These prongs are perfect for the size of stone that goes in those ones. But this one I actually had to cut and trim those bezels up and then polish them back up. But fun. It's not expensive, especially for people that are beginning. You start getting a few stones, and most people think, well, how do I get my money back out of these? Well, I don't think you should be looking at it that way, because you're probably not. If you're on a budget and learning how to cut, you shouldn't be looking at how much money can I sell these for initially. Obviously, the value of what you got is important, and I'm not saying don't try to make stuff that's valuable, but you're probably better off to make gifts out of your first number of things before you start offering things to the public. One of my frustrations as a knife maker is seeing people who have no business offering stuff for sale. Their skill level there isn't good enough to be doing that yet. You'd be better off to make them and give them as gifts. They're good enough that somebody would love to have them as a gift, but you really shouldn't be. And that's just my personal opinion. Because that's what I did. I gave away 26 knives before I sold the first one, and that was the first one that I thought, you know what, this is good enough that I would feel comfortable selling it to somebody. And the same thing, I feel the same thing about jewelry and opals and that stuff. So I don't look. It's not my intent. Not that I haven't sold some, and not that I wouldn't, but that's not been my intent. My intent is actually to make Christmas presents for my family, my kids, my grandkids, and all that stuff. And so, what do you use your opals for? If you're watching this channel, I'm assuming that you like opals, love opals, maybe collect, maybe you've been a cutter for years. Are you a retailer? Do you sell them? Do you hoard them? Do you give them away? Or all of the above? Let me know. I hope this helps you be able to find a use for them. And if you're wondering what do I do with all of them, that's kind of where they're all going. Is they're all going to end up as Christmas presents to somebody that I love. And just as a footnote, that one right there that you saw the video of not very long ago, I like that one enough that as soon as I cut it, I measured it. I went online. It was kind of an oddball shape. I can't remember, 7 by 12, 12 by 7, something like that. It took me a minute, but I was able to I found a place that was selling one, but it was a super sketchy website and it was fairly expensive. So I actually I Google searched the image, found out that I believe it was Temu. It might have been Etsy. Somebody else was selling the exact same ring. They're all out of China. Everybody's just wholesaling them back off of, retailing them back off of a wholesale seller. But I was able to find that one, and as soon as that one comes in, I'll show you how that one turns out, because that one's for me. I just, some of the opals speak to you, so to speak. Like I think they're all beautiful, but there's some of them like, oh man, That one's for me. So when that ring comes, you'll be able to see me set it, and then you'll see that on my finger when I'm cutting, probably. Thanks for watching.